Hey there, welcome back. Now let's do some product discovery. We have selected so many interesting features like reporting and analytics, different project views, advanced search. But for our discovery, I have selected chat, conversations and discussions, unified experience design in Trello. Yes, we will do discovery for only one feature. It is because I want to cover this in details so that you can understand various nuances associated with it. Plus, this feature idea is an interesting one. Also, practically it will not be possible to do discovery for all features in our course. So, before we get into discovery session, here is a recap. Product discovery has 4 stages. First, we have to define the problem and prepare a product narrative. Second, we have to design a solution and then prototype it and then test it out. This process has to be in an iterative manner until we arrive at the best case solution for the stated problem, right? So product managers typically work with user experience designers for prototyping and testing. So in our case, we will skip this step and we will just limit ourselves to low fidelity sketches to narrate out our solution. So let us start with the customer problem. It states commenting is a bit limited and on larger projects or boards, it is easy to lose track of conversations. It would be nice if there were a way to unify chatting into one place or better organize it. So the customer has explicitly mentioned here as in what they want. We can call these kind of requirements as stated requirements. Requirements can be stated or unstated. Unstated are the ones that is not explicitly mentioned by the customers but are required in the product. For example, customers may ask for a search tool to search from the list of items, but they would also need the search tool to provide them with results in less than a second. So the skill of a product manager comes into play to elicit these requirements from the customers. In our case, we do not have any customers to go to. We will simply analyze as much as we can to identify both stated and unstated requirements. We will start by understanding the context of Trello and we will take a persona-based example to identify the user problems. Then we will go about validating the problem and analyzing the root cause with 5 whys and jobs to be done framework. And then lastly, we will define the solution in the form of a product narrative. So let us take a look at the context of Trello. Fundamentally, to manage a project in Trello, you have to create different teams who will be working in the project and then define the team processes within the project using one or more boards. Each board will represent a process constituting of several lists. Lists represent task statuses and task cards typically move within the board from one list to other till it gets to the done in that board. Trello has no option in which task card which is done in one board can be moved to next board in case of complex project processes. Trello team has tried to keep the application as simple and as generic as possible so that they can cater to the most number of use cases of a small and medium business. Now that we have context of Trello for our reference, let us take the example of a user persona to identify the problems around the customer feedback that we are trying to analyze. Let's take the case of Joshua. Joshua is a sales specialist. Joshua is involved in multiple activities and works with multiple teams to acquire, onboard and convert leads into customers. So Joshua works with sales and marketing colleagues to generate leads and then validate them into qualified leads, then go about acquiring customers. So once the customer is acquired, let's say if 3 customers are acquired, then Joshua has to front end all these 3 customers in different implementation projects and ensure that all customer requirements are available to the implementation teams to implement the project. And once the implementation is done, he'll be working closely with the training team to ensure that the customers are trained with the product and a proper handoff happens. Post which he has to closely work with accounts and finance team for the first invoicing. So typically Joshua is involved in a lot of different activities and with lot of different teams, and hence he is part of multiple boards. So what exactly is he trying to do? So what is his job like? So he is owner of and working on few tasks in various boards. He is member in various tasks where he is not actually responsible to execute the task but has accountability. He also wants to get timely updates on projects and tasks such that he can respond to them if required. He has to also post comments and participate in discussions to ensure that he shares his timely inputs to other team members. And he also wants to stay informed on what's happening in various discussions, various tasks, various activities. So what problems is he facing? Now he is finding it difficult to track so many tasks across different boards, projects and teams, right? And he is not able to track updates and conversations across different boards and projects, and he is not able to respond to them when required. Sometimes he misses key information shared in comments or discussions, or he fails to respond to some key discussions on time, and he's not able to track his action items which he has identified in some discussions or comments. And he's also finding it difficult to stay organized and stay on top of what's happening in each of the projects or tasks that he's part of. Because there are so many projects that he's involved, there are so many task boards, there are so many cards across each of these boards, and he's participating in multiple discussions and multiple team activities, right? So it is natural that it is very difficult to have an overall picture of what's happening and to stay organized in this case and stay on top of each of these projects or tasks. So these problems that he's facing is further leading to tasks missing due dates, there are project delays, there is an impact on productivity and throughput, and there's also customer dissatisfaction and at times escalations, right? Now, after identifying these problems, ideally we should validate the problem, right? Primarily validation happens by two ways.